Hey up everybody, welcome back to the Audi Cycling YouTube channel, where today I am going to be talking you through VELOGAMES Brugge de Panne. This is usually a sprinters race, well at least that's what happened last year, and I don't think there'll be much different unless there's some crosswinds, so you're going to be on one to be stacking your team with a lot of sprinters, of which there are many good ones. Important to note is that currently Caleb Ewan and Fabio Jakobsen, their participation seems a little bit questionable, so perhaps wait for full confirmation before putting these riders on your team. Definitely check, cycling databases later this evening or whatever before you go picking these riders. They would be very good picks, but I'm going to base this video as if they're not in the race. So currently this is a team that I've got kind of set up. It's really good, full of some really good sprinters. Of course, I think Mark Cavendish might be down for this race instead of Jakobsen, so it's very possible that, let's say, Mark Cavendish is 16 points though. So let's, for example, say that Lutsenko is Cavendish. You could go with something like this, where you take Merlier off and then you'd put on Giacomo Nizzolo. I think that's a very good team as well. There's going to be very few differences between teams here, as far as I can tell, but you've got some top quality sprinters here. So, of course, Ewan, Jakobsen, maybe Nizzolo, Pedersen. I think Pedersen's a pretty much must-have. I think most people will have him. Sam Bennett's a bit more questionable just because he didn't take part in Milan-San Remo, so we're not quite sure how fit he is. The same goes for Ewan, actually. We're not sure how fit he is at the moment. Moscon, just don't pick him because there's no point in a sprinter's race. Ackerman, they've also got Gaviria, so probably avoid these two. You don't know who they're going to go for. Arambaru probably isn't fast enough for this kind of finish, but could sneak a top 10. I think that Demare and Groenewegen and Merlier really suit this kind of race. Just very complete power finish, no real hills. I think that all of them look really good, especially Demare, who finished 10th at Milan-San Remo recently. Groenewegen, last thing he did was Paris, where he just got dropped all the time. Merlier, of course, won a stage of Tirreno, so all those guys looking pretty good. The stand-in replacement of Mark Cavendish, Alexei Lutsenko, is, he's looking, Cav won Milan-Torino, and he's also got Murkuv here leading him out, so a pretty much must-have pick there as well. The problem with Cofidis is that they have Chimolai, Consonni and Max Walscheid. Of course, Walscheid has done, he's won a race recently, but, questionable as to whether to go with him. Christopher Halverson would be another one. Jordi Meus, but there is also Danny Van Poppel. I don't know. I'm not even sure about either of those. Halverson might be an okay pick, but I think there are some cheaper options who are better than him, including perhaps Nasser Buhani or Amari Capio, Dan McClay. But the thing is, who are RK going to go with? Are they going to try and get 3 guys in the top 10 like they did at Kuurne-Brussel-Kuurne? I don't really know. Murkuv could finish in the top 10 just through being the lead out man for Cav, exactly like he did in Milan-Torino. Arnaud Dali is a great choice for 10 points, as is Olav Koy just below him. Both young sprinters. Koy, his lead out hasn't been fully released yet, so I'm not sure about him, but Arnaud Dali has just been on fire recently, and I think that he'll certainly pick up a top 10 as long as nothing goes wrong. Fred Wright seems to be probably the fastest man for Bahrain Victorious, so I reckon he's probably a decent pick. And I think a lot of you will be here to choose, some of the cheaper pointed riders, just because there's a lot of expensive riders. You're going to need to balance it out in some way. You could go Aniolowski. There is also Timothy Dupont here, but Aniolowski is a good second option for the team. Absolutely. Luca Colnaghi is fast, but they do have Sasha Modler here, but Colnaghi finished really high up in that sprint, if you remember, at the under 23 worlds last year, so he's no slouch in his sprint at all. Michele Gazzoli is the fastest guy that Astana have in this team, so one to watch out for there. Matteo Moschetti, but of course they have Pedersen here, so probably not the wisest pick, but there is a really good one who I'm going to recommend you all to put on, and that is going to be Marlene van den Berg for EF Education Easy Post. A couple of top 10 finishes at the UAE Tour. This guy's super fast, definitely the fastest sprinter that EF have at this team. Absolutely 10 out of 10 would recommend you put this guy on your team. If you don't want to put him on, Gerben Taysen is a really good second option, probably the fastest guy that Intermarché have on their team, and he's also looked pretty good at some of the Belgian one-day races recently, which have ended in kind of bunch sprints. But if you really need to scrape the barrel and go down to the 4-pointers, there isn't too many to choose from. You could go maybe Julius Johansson for Intermarché, Wanty Gobert, but really I think one of the better ones is Søren Vanskjold. If Christopher Halverson isn't firing on all cylinders, they will likely de facto to Søren Vanskjold, who I've actually done a complete separate video on if you want to go check that out. But other than that, you know, I don't really think there are that many 4-pointers that you can choose from. Maybe you choose just like Astana riders to go in the break because they don't really have any kind of like sprinter option here. I reckon that would be the other recommendation that I'd have for you. Maybe Sam Bewley for assist points for Groenewegen, or Egholm for assist points for Pedersen. So that would be my 4-point recommendation. Go for assist points really, or go for Van Schold. That's overall what I'm going to be saying with you. Anyway, I expect a lot of people to have some very similar teams, so be sure to put them all down in the comments below. I'm sure we'll all end up with very similar riders. And all that is left to say is to keep safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!